We're getting back to our bread and butter today. We're going to be looking at the Bitcoin miners and their weekly closes for the week today. There's some really exciting things in these charts, so I think you're going to want to stick around for this one because there's some pretty beautiful candles coming in right now. We're also going to end this with a little look at Bitcoin and how it's been performing after the halving. So first of all, we're going to start with CleanSpark here. You can see CleanSpark here. This currently is the daily chart. We will switch over to the weekly after we look at the daily really quick here. So this descending channel, this is done now. We broke this to the upside. This one's donezo. Goodbye. I'm going to leave the $15 here on the chart because there is a potential that we could eventually like kind of bleed off down towards that and then bounce from there as well. But first of all, let's take a look at the SMAs and see what's down there. Yeah, the 5-day is at about 1538. So we could come down to the 5-day moving average and then launch from there in a couple of days. It might be somewhere closer to like 1560, 1570, where we meet that and then launch from there. But I do expect that this 50 SMA to hold us below it for a little while because this is the first time we've come actually down below it since we had this big epic run here starting in February. So this could be the come down, come up, test it, and then faked it down before coming back up again off of that. We'll see. We'll see what that looks like. So anyways, the other thing you can see here is that I've had this descending channel on my chart here since probably, was it like early March? I think I started putting this, maybe March, late March. It's been on here for probably almost a month now, this descending channel, and look exactly where we went. We bounced right off the bottom of it. We came right to the bottom of that descending channel and bounced. And then on the swing up, we went right up to this $18 level that I've had marked on here since early April. And then we stopped right on top of that thing. Technicals are fantastic. I love technicals. This is why I do this. This is just excellent. It doesn't always play out so beautifully, but it does it enough of the time that, technicals are important. Okay, anyways, that's all I wanted to look at for the daily on CleanSpark. Let's take a look at their weekly close. So their weekly candle actually is an engulfing green candle. On mine, of course, it's blue because I like the blue aesthetic. On your chart, it's probably green unless you customized it. So this is an engulfing green candle. This is good. This is a good candle here. If we can get up and above $18 next week or by the end mid-month in May, this is going to look really good. Now, we are currently still in a bit of a descending channel here on the weekly. You can see it about right here. Well, I mean, it really started here and it's got aggressive kind of, let's see, about something like that. And it's been like that, right? That's kind of what we did. Now, it is looking like it's probably not going to come to the bottom of that. But if it does, though, it would take us down into this box here at 1138. We'll see. There could be some sort of a flush ahead of us here going into May and June. I mean, like I said before many times, if current events come out and there's something really horrible on the horizon, it could have us flush out and flush down to those levels temporarily for a short period of time, much like we saw on April 12th, and then again here last, was it Friday, Thursday or Friday? Can't remember which day it was. Whichever day that was, where the retaliation came in and we saw that a couple of big red candles coming in off of those. If we get some more news like that, we could flush down to that like $11, $10 level for a short period of time, but we will rally afterwards, as we often do. The other thing I wanted to look at real quick on CleanSpark is the monthly. Let's take a look at the Giga Cup. It's actually coming in pretty nice as well. So I do see this potentially kind of vacillating around between like $20 and $15 for a while here until we get out of this handle and break upwards. Now I'd be looking to really confirm it, a candle above that stays entirely above $21. I see that would be pretty epically bullish, and I think that would take us up to that $40 level that we've been looking at for CleanSpark for quite a while now. So this is actually coming in nicely. It's staying inside of this handle. Remember, this descending channel that I've got here that I drew off the weekly, that is the handle. If it breaks below that, which, I mean, it comes to 11, it can come to this box. Like, it can. This box is kind of the last line of defense on this Giga Cup. If it comes below that, then I would say that it's probably nullified, at least in terms of this particular formation playing out. I'd be looking for a different one at that point. But I do think that this is going to end up being another big old cup and handle, something similar to like what we saw back here on the weekly. If we go back to the weekly real quick, something very similar to what we saw back here on the weekly that started on August 2022, went to July 2023. We had that really wicked handle that went really as far as it possibly could go before nullifying and then just absolutely rocketed from there. So I'm looking for that on the monthly chart, and it being on the monthly chart means that like that's going to be quite the epic run up. But anyways, the weekly close on CleanSpark is fantastic. The daily candles are also looking quite good here right now. We are getting a bit stopped here at the $18 level, which is where that 50-day SMA is. So we came below the 50-day, we came up, tested it, bounced off of it. That's not fantastic, but that doesn't mean the run is over. That just means that we're likely to stay like sideways for a little while, maybe come back down into the 15s for a few days, and then from there we'll build up that momentum to break through that 50 and move on up again on CleanSpark. So that's what that's looking like right now with CleanSpark. Let's take a look at Mara. Mara had a fantastic candle finally. Okay, so this is what we got right here. This was the weakest, ugliest morning star I ever saw right here from April 16th, 17th, and 18th. But it was a morning star, and that was confirmed on Friday with this big old move up afterwards. So this was a morning star pattern. It really was beautiful. I love it when it actually works out. So we are outside of this aggressive descending channel now. If we can hold this on Monday and Tuesday, I would say that this is likely to come back up and test $20 from here on Mara. Full disclosure, I did purchase a leap call on Mara on Friday for January 2025. I do intend to sell that around July. Of course, this is not financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. That's just what I'm doing with my portfolio, what I thought would be a prudent thing to do at this time, given what I am seeing on the charts for my own financial position. I am looking to potentially add one, maybe two, for that January 2025 strike with the intention of selling on the July rally, because I do believe there will be a July rally or maybe a late June rally. I'm expecting some sort of summer rally, and that is why I only bought to 2025 instead of 2026 like I've done with all of my other leap options. Okay, so that's what I've been doing with Mara. Let's take a look at the weekly. The weekly chart is really why I did that. And if you see the weekly, let's turn off all the drawings. That is a hammer candle. That is a hammer candle on the weekly that printed at the bottom of a move. That is ultra bullish. Like, that is crazy bullish. I would not be surprised that by the time summer comes around that we're trading back in the high 20s on Mara, given this candle pattern here. If this plays out, if this stays positive next week, if we can hold above that level next week, I would be looking for the high 20s here around summertime on this particular pattern. Now, you can see similar sorts of patterns have come in the past, like back here. This one is an inverse hammer at the bottom of the move. And look what happened. Look what happened right after. It moved up. Let's take a look here. It went up it went up from October 23rd to, in a month, it went up 76% from there. I mean, and it went even higher than that, but like I would have probably sold at 76%. I'm not going to lie. Where else do we see this particular candle pattern coming in at the bottom of a move? There's another one right here. This is also an inverted hammer. Kind of came in near the bottom of this move. It gave us a little bump up. Not as much of one, not really a great one like it was on the past. There's another hammer right there. It took us up a little bit before coming down. Now there were legs down afterwards, but it did mark a move up. Oh, here's another really good one down here. We got a couple of hammers actually. We got a hammer, we got an inverted hammer followed by a hammer, well, two inverted hammers by a hammer, and then just big moves up coming afterwards in 2020. Now this was in September, so it wasn't due to the virus. Then you've also got this hammer pattern, this hammer candle coming in on November 9th in 2020, and then after that, just an absolute launch. So hammer candles, now they're not always bullish. I shouldn't say they're always bullish, but they are a bullish signal. Doesn't mean that it's guaranteed by any means. As you can see, some of those hammer candles were followed by like just a short leg up and then a dip. So like that could be what happens. We could get a short leg up maybe into the low 20s and then a dip right back down. That could totally happen. But I'm not expecting that to happen given the timeline that we're on currently for the Bitcoin halving and going forward. I am expecting this to perhaps go sideways or stay at about the same level for another 4 to 6 weeks. And then from there, I'm expecting to see some larger moves up for that summer rally that I am anticipating coming through here. But that is a very bullish candle pattern right there on the Mara chart. Also, we came to the bottom of this descending channel. Let me get back on the daily. Actually, let me get back on the daily. You can see it better. We came right to the bottom of this ascending channel here and bounced off of it. We came and just crushed this level here at 1464 right afterwards. So like this is another reason I am looking at that and saying that that's probably a pretty bullish sign, because we came all the way right to the bottom of my ascending channel and bounced. So that is what I'm looking at here. We also got outside of this descending channel, and that weekly chart again printed a hammer candle at the bottom of the move, bouncing off of support. That gives me confidence. Like on the daily chart, you can see here's a hammer back here on January 19th, and followed by that hammer, we went from a bottom of 1457 all the way up to $30 before really getting any kind of sizable correction off of that hammer candle pattern that came in there. There's another one right around here. That is also a hammer. It's not at the bottom of the move. It's more like at the middle of the move. But that was on November 10th, and then up from there. Another little hammer right here on October 4th, 2023. And after that one, it was just up, 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 and away. That's all it looked like. So that's why I'm so excited about that hammer candle, especially being on support, bouncing off of the bottom of my ascending channel on the weekly chart. Like, I'm very excited about that particular hammer candle on tomorrow. Let's take a look at RIOT. RIOT is taking off here. The RIOT is doing this, they finished their Corsica upgrade. Haven't seen exactly how much hash rate that brought online for them, but man, did it ever give them some pretty amazing green candles that came in on RIOT. We have broken out of this waterfall here. We are now on our way up. We did a gap up. This looks like it could potentially be a gap up and go. We do have a bit of an island reversal right here, so that's really nice. This little box right here, that's an island. And we're going to leave that island behind and do a full-on island reversal here on this bad boy right there. We're going to say, bye-bye, island. We don't need you. Hopefully those cars can't be heard. Those are super, super loud. They're doing a Grand Prix this weekend in the city, so it's like very loud cars all over the place. Let's take a look at the weekly for RIOT. Again, a hammer candle at the bottom of the movie. Now, this one wasn't at the complete bottom of my descending channel here. That's a huge descending channel, but we didn't quite get to the bottom of it, so it's not quite as bullish as the Mara one, but they are nearing oversold territory on the RSI. On the weekly, we are getting a bottom flash on the VIX fix indicator, as well as printing this hammer candle on some significant volume compared to what we've been seeing the last few weeks on RIOT. So again, I'd be looking for RIOT to make a move up to this trend line here, this dotted line I have here, up to the level around 1141. And that's where I'm looking for this move to come in the next couple of weeks off of this hammer candle pattern. Like you can see RIOT's done them too. Here's a hammer on June 12th. And after that, it went from 938 all the way up to $20.68 in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 weeks. 5 weeks after seeing that hammer candle. Here's an inverted hammer down here on June 13th, 2022. That weekly candle, and after we got that, we moved from we came down from $4.26 to $4, and then from $4 we went all the way up to $10.55 off that hammer candle. Here's a hammer candle that failed and went further down. So it does happen. And then over here on the bottom of these moves, we got this hammer candle followed by an inverted hammer after 2 weeks later, and then a little bit of a move up before a further leg down. So sometimes there are leg ups and then leg downs right after, but given, again, just like with Mara, same thesis is in play. We're in the bull run now. The halving is behind us. Bitcoin is going to go up from here. The miners will likely go up from here. Printing that hammer candle at this time, at these lows where they currently are, is a bullish signal in my mind, and I have been acting accordingly off of that data. Okay, so what are the other ones we want to look at? Let's take a look at Bitfarms. How was that close? That close was actually pretty good. We're doing just like I mentioned before, and I remember I did do this on Friday. So it came out of this V. We've broken out on the daily from this aggressive descending channel, and now we're in an ascending channel. I want to see it come back to the bottom of this ascending channel around 185, and then start bouncing off from there to see this thing try to make its way up back up to over $2 on this guy right here. Let's take a look at the SMAs. What are those looking like? We are currently trading above the 200-day SMA. I would like to see us actually hold above that. Now that I'm thinking about it, we could dip a little bit below it, but not much. I want to see it hang out around the 200-day or slightly below it for a few days, and then just like rocket up above this 20-day, and then come seeking out that 50-day moving average up above it there. Let me turn off the Eternals here. Let's take a look at the weekly on Bitfarms. How does this look? Let me turn off all these channels. Let me turn off all these drawings. So many drawings on this chart. Okay. Not as strong as some others. Not bad, but not super, super strong. So like this isn't a crazy bullish candle on the weekly. It is positive. I want to see it come up and above and take out this candle here, this minus 13% candle here. I want to see it get back up above that $2.20 range on Bitfarms before I'm going to feel like super excited about it again. And I don't think that will happen until they announce who their new CEO is going to be. They got to complete that CEO search, and then I think we're going to see some big moves on Bitfarms from there. Now let me see here. I got so much. Let me clean up this chart just a tiny bit. In fact, I know I put that there for a reason, so I'm going to leave it. This is this ascending channel. We did bounce, so we have been in this larger descending channel here, right? And we came from the top of it straight to the bottom of it, and we bounced off the bottom of it. So that's really actually a good sign, meaning we might not come to the bottom of this ascending channel again. We might just stay up in the upper half of this ascending channel from now on once we get back up into it, which we're getting very, very close to that. But $2 is the line in the sand. We got to get above $2. Once we're above $2, 237 will play a bit of a difficult level once we get above $2, assuming we don't just cut right through it. And then once we get above 237, there's really nothing in our way until we get to $3, and $3 is light resistance and we could easily go up to $4 from there. Okay, so that's what we're looking at on Bitfarms, especially if we get good news about their increases in their hash rate and they find a CEO that that investors like, then I think we're probably going to see this thing take off pretty dramatically. Take a look at Bit Digital. Bit Digital, their weekly close is also a hammer candle, but not a pretty one. So it was a negative 3.88% on the week, but this is also a hammer candle at the bottom of the move. It came very close to the bottom of this descending trend line here before getting that bounce up. This is still bullish. It's not great. It's not fantastic, but it's still bullish. I mean, you can see back here when we got this consolidation, we got several hammer candles. We had one at the very beginning before we went sideways. We had two in the middle. We had well, three in the middle actually, and then we started seeing it pull out and above. Really what we needed to see was that first candle here on November 20th, 2023, where it got up and above this kind of box. Here, let me draw the box. When it got up and above this level right there at 234, that's where we really saw it taking off from there. Now, where is that level on this side? I think we're going to need to get down into the daily because the weekly isn't giving me a whole lot here. This, like, honestly, this looks like we got a long way to go to get above it on the weekly. Let's take a look at the daily. How's the daily looking in that respect? Okay, so on the daily, what I'm seeing when I look at this, I want to see the price of Bit Digital to be confident in its bigger move up. I really would like to see it get up. Oh, man, that's a long way. It's about 250. I'd like to see it get up and above 250. It's got to get up and above this box right here. It's got to get above it. It's got to get into 226, fight its way up to 250 and go up. Let's take a look at the volume profile and see if that confirms anything I just said here. So let's take a look at the volume profile. Does it confirm? It does. It does confirm. But in fact, actually on the volume profile, it's showing that it really needs to get above 258. So let's go ahead and just adjust that to 258. About 258. All right, so that's really where we really need to get in terms of like the volume that's in our way. We got to get above 258. So we're gonna like struggle all the way from 225 all the way to 258 on Bit Digital. Either that or it's gonna slice right through it like butter. We'll see. We'll see what it does. But it does need to do that. Now, right now, it is doing an ascending channel. And what do we know about ascending channels is that they often do break to the downside. So I would be expecting this move to bounce or reject off of the bottom of that megaphone, come down potentially back to the lows of 176, and then from there take off later in the summer. That's what I'd be looking for on Bit Digital right now going forward. Let's take a look at CIFR. Real quick, CIFR, the daily candles are looking pretty good. We got three good ones. Now, of course, this is an ascending channel. What do we know about ascending channels? They tend to break to the downside, which would take it down to, back down to 340 if it's done. It could continue on up. Of course, we're not even at 50 on the RSI on the daily. This thing could keep going up into this ascending channel, and it could come as high. If it takes out this 457 level, then I'd be expecting it to continue going up or barely pull back down to like 427 before going on up further on CIFR. If we get some good news, I think we could see that. Let's take a look at what the weekly looked like. Again, hammer candle. Now, this isn't quite at the bottom of the move like some of these other ones, but hammer candles, the last four anyways. We had one here on October 2nd, big run up. We had one here on January 22nd, big run up. We had another one, inverted hammer here on February 26th, followed by one 2 weeks later on March 11th that really sent us flying high. So these hammer candles have been showing us some bullish momentum in the CIFR chart lately. So I am actually pretty happy to see this hammer. It's a kind of a weaker hammer than some of the other ones, but that is still a hammer candle. That is signaling that if we get a nice big move up next week, maybe even into like the low $4 range, I'd still be feeling like it's pretty bullish off of that. Take a look at HUT real quick. What's HUT doing? HUT's at the bottom of the move. It's just sort of vacillating here in this really weak ascending channel. This candle's not so bad on the weekly. I don't dislike it at all. It's up 4% for the week. But HUT really, really needs to get up and above that $9.15, $9.14, $9.15 range, or 9.07 actually was what that says. Needs to get above that range before I'd be looking at it and saying, yeah, it's going to move up to that $13 to $15 range on HUT. And if it gets below this this ascending channel here, then I'd be looking for it to retrace to the bottom here around 677 or 626, and then maybe even go a little lower. So this descending channel here is done. I'm gonna get rid of this. This one's also done. I'm gonna get rid of this. I'll leave this little one on here for now. No, I'll get rid of that one too. That one doesn't matter. I'll get rid of that one too. Okay. So I got the big descending, the big ascending. So I got two big ascending ones. We're actually sitting on the base of one right now. Yeah, we're sitting on the base of this huge ascending channel on the way up to here. So I'm going to leave that like that right now. HUT is kind of just vacillating around in this like weak ascending channel. It's just waiting for some good news, a good news catalyst to send it higher. Let's take a look at IREN real fast. IREN, so IREN doesn't look bad either. Honestly, it doesn't look too bad either. This represents a slight, no, that's a lower low. So we did make a lower low from the previous cycle here on the weekly chart. You can see this descending channel broke to the upside. That ascending channel broke to the downside. Now we are in a weak pump up from that. That could take us a little bit lower, maybe even down to like 353 before we see a flip on IREN. I think IREN, since they don't do a hodl, I think that the market is probably going to hold its breath for a little while and see how profitable IREN is after the halving here. I think that's probably going to be the place that take place on quite a few of the miners that don't have a hodl of Bitcoin and they don't have a treasury of Bitcoin. I think that the market's probably going to give them a little bit of a breathing room here until they see those profits rolling, and they want to see what the production is going to be. So we might have to wait until the end of May to really see a move on these Bitcoin miners that don't have a hodl, because the market wants to know that they're going to be making money. Because if they don't have a treasury, the only way they're making money is through their production. So they really want to see that production come through and be profitable before investors are jumping back in on this one and giving it those mega green candles like we saw back here on February 5th. Or on November 27th. So I think this one's going to be more of a waiting game. It's going to be more of like having some patience, waiting for the market to suss out how profitable they think it's going to be after the halving here. And then once it has established that it can handle this halving, that it's going to be profitable after this halving, I think then we'll start seeing the fireworks go off on IREN and the other miners that don't have a hodl. So that's what I've got for you for the miners today. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. How has Bitcoin been faring since the halving? So the halving happened here on April 19th. We got again, like a bit of a hammer candle here, which is near the bottom of a move, which followed another hammer candle here on April 16th. And we have gone up a little bit from there. We're holding above that $64,000 level, which is very, very nice. I like that. The fact that it became so low here and we got all these big wild wicks and then we are coming to the upside on that does make me feel like we're entering a new upward move here. So this could be a leg. So this could just be a leg up that takes us further down. But we are outside of this descending channel, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that now. Now, right now, what am I looking for? Actually, what am I seeing here? No, that's not right. That's not going to be the case. Okay, never mind. So we're entering a new channel right now. Let's take a look. Let's draw this channel real quick on Bitcoin. About right here, about right there, and about right there. Okay. That's what I'm seeing right there for Bitcoin right now. And if it breaks out of this ascending channel, then I'd be looking for it to come back and test the lows of $60,000 one more time. Let's see if it holds. If it doesn't hold, we're going down to 57. Remember, I showed you on the book maps, 55,000 is a significant level. Like Bitcoin would have to do a pretty significant crash to chew through all of the Bitcoin that is set to buy at $55,000. So I don't think we'll get lower than that, but this could be the leg that if it breaks, it could take us down to that $57,000, $56,000 level on Bitcoin before we start seeing an upward move again. I'm expecting that to be in the summer. So I think it's a time of patience. I do see this as a potential period of just that last period of accumulation before things really take off. Of course, this is not financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. Personally, I am looking for this sort of continued weakness for another maybe 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks maximum, and then a summer rally followed by a cool off period in September and October, and then at the end of October expecting that Q4 massive rally that's going to take us like significantly higher than we've seen in the past on Bitcoin and on the miners. So that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm looking for this leg to break to the downside, take us into the high 50s somewhere around mid-June perhaps, and then start crawling back up from there in a big way going to the end of July, and then a cooling off period in August, September, October, and then end of October, just an absolute rocket up is what I'm looking for from there. So that's all I've got for you right now. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.